Hi everyone, welcome back to a lecture of drawing and illustration. Since there's a long break after the Chinese New Year, and because of the spread of the virus, we are now going to do the online lecture and tutorial. And according to our teaching plan, this should be the week 3 or lecture 3, talking about light and shade. And altogether, we will have 2 lectures covering this topic. So for today's topic, we are going to talk about lights and lighting. Whether it is natural or artificial light is very important to us. And lighting is the deliberate control of the light condition. And there are 2 types of shadow, attached and cast shadow. We will take some time to look into it. And according to our plan, there should be some outdoor sketching activities. And I think this can be done when the conditions becomes better. Let's talk about light. Light is very important to any forms of life, and it helps us to see things and to see the space environment around us. And it affects our emotions. And when there's not enough light, people can easily get depressed. And for artists, drawing is very important to us, as with light we can determine the source of light, and only with it we can see the colors. Lighting is the deliberate control of light and shadow. I think it's usually done in a studio setting. When you are taking pictures and shooting a video, you definitely need some equipment to help, such as spotlight or floodlight. It can help you to control the light and shadow, and give you the effects that you want. But in natural environment, I think it's difficult to change the light condition. All you can do is to change position, or you use some reflection board to help. And this picture can help us to further elaborate how the light and shadow can define the space. For the first picture on the left, you will see that there should be 2 spheres. We have 2 spotlights pointing to the spheres, but the light is very strong, so it makes the spheres look rather bright and flat, like shadows, like circles. But for the second picture, um, this time we have only 1 spotlight pointing to the second sphere. Again, it looks very flat and circle. But this time we create a shadow over the second sphere next to it. So it gives the shadow, makes it more three-dimensional. So for the shadow, we have attached and cast shadow. The attached shadow is part of the object, is stick to the object. The first 2 pictures is the attached shadow. But for the cast shadow, it's not stick to the object. It's usually fall on ground or over the wall or some places. it is not part of the object. So the third picture shows you the car shadow. Let's take a look at the first two pictures of the attached shadow here. Can you tell the direction of the light source? Are the two pictures different? Let's take some time to think about it. The answer is they are coming from the same direction. They look different because of the design of the object is different. For the first one, the attached shadow is formed right below the surface that's facing the sun. And the second picture is the same. The attached shadow is formed here. It's also below the surface that's facing the sun. And then we will talk about fall off. It means the rate of change from lightness to darkness or darkness to lightness. So it just gives you the contrast level. So for the first picture, it is fast fall off. So we see that the rate of change is rapid from brightness to darkness. So it gives a very high contrast effect. For the second one, it is a slow fall off. So the rate of change is gradual. It gives a more natural effect. And the third one is illumination without any change. So the surface looks very bright and smooth. I think most girls will prefer this effect because it can make the skin look very smooth and bright. Again, it is a comparison between fast and slow fall off. When shooting an old man, most photographers prefer a fast fall off. High contrast, the wrinkles will become very obvious. And this is slow fall off. For the shading techniques as we have talked about, we mainly use lines. Whether you are using pencil or pen, and we can also use cross hatching with cross lines. And it will give a much darker or rough surface. But for smooth surface like this one, we'll use a straight lines more. And if the object is rounded, and we can use bracelet shading, just like the curves, to help shape the form. And these are the samples of using lines and hatching to do the shading. And if you're using pencil, because it is more pressure sensitive, when you stroke harder and it become darker. If you stroke softer, then it is lighter. But if you are using pen, it is less pressure sensitive. So we'll maybe make use of the number of lines to determine the darkness and lightness. So if you give more lines, more densely together, it will give a darker surface. And if the lines are wider apart, it becomes lighter. So now you need to do some class exercise about toning. You need to draw the value scale from darkness to lightest. For the first one, you need to use HB pencil. And second word, you need to use ball pen or drawing pen. After finish, you need to submit to the Moodle. I've already opened a submission link for you to submit, and then we can have an online tutorial section, and I can see your work and then do some comment. And now I will show you a field demo by me doing the toning value scale. So you can see that I'm using a HB pencil to do the toning. Let's start with the darkest part first. So if you stroke softer, so it becomes lighter and lighter. The second one, I use a fountain pen. And for the darker part, I draw more lines to give a darker effect. And the lines are wider apart to make it lighter. That's it. Let's take some time to do the toning scale, and when you have finished, submit to the Moodle, and then we will have a short break. And after that, I will continue the lecture to talk more about light and shade.